It's almost draft time. So today, Addison and I are bringing you a 2025 mock draft start eight, two running backs, two flexes. And the first four picks come off the board, Addison. We got Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, and then CeeDee Lamb. You're kind of up on the board here at the 105. So I'm a little bit curious with the Justin Jefferson injury. That's a little bit intriguing. But then you also have my guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, sitting there staring you right down the barrel. Where are you looking to go kind of right here?
I know it is a very intriguing spot to be at because when I picked this 5 spot, I was kind of hoping that CeeDee Lamb would fall there. I have seen that happen in a few instances because I do like grabbing an elite wide receiver early on because I think the running back values in rounds 3, 4, and 5 are really heavy this year compared to the wide receivers that are going in that range as well. So I like being able to start with a wide receiver to then grab those later round running backs. But I am debating between Justin Jefferson and Jahmyr Gibbs. You also have Amon-Ra or Puka or Derrick Henry, anybody like that. But it really does feel like the decision is between Jettas or Gibbs. I think I'm still going to go with Justin Jefferson. I mean, the dude's just so elite. JJ McCarthy looked pretty solid in the preseason game to start. He does have that hamstring injury going on right now, but hopefully that clears itself up. He had hamstring injuries, a couple years ago, then came back and was like immediately awesome once again. Like he's never not been awesome. It's Justin Jefferson. I'm trying not to overthink it, and I'm happy with him at the 105.
No, I absolutely love that pick for you. And then, of course, see Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, and the Malik Neighbors go off the board. And Addison, here at the 111, I was praying that Nacua or Malik Neighbors was going to fall. Sometimes I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen in a few drafts, but I'm sitting here at the 111. And so right now it's crazy. And this is it for anybody watching this. Like use the 4for4 multi-site ADP because right now they have Ashton Genty as the top available player. And I do not have Ashton Genty as the highest available player in my rankings. And if you look on the 4for4 site, multi-site ADP, that's not going to be that either. Use code YouTube. It will actually get you 25% off. I'm sitting here kind of right here, Addison, and I'm right now between Nico Collins and Devon Achane. I think I'm going to go Nico Collins here because I think one of either CMC or Devon will fall back to me with my next pick. I'm going to do a little bit of a hero wide receiver build. So I'll go Nico here. We'll see what kind of falls back to me. Boom. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, looking like I either go with CMC or I go with Devon. I think I'm crazy, but I think I'm going to take Devon over CMC. Addison, how do you feel about that?
No, I mean, I don't hate it. We just got news this morning that Alexander Mattison is now out for the 2025 season with a neck injury. So I'm not to say that Alexander Mattison was going to impede it all on Devon Achane, but it's one less running back in his way. I'm sure they maybe go out and try to sign somebody or something like that. I don't even know who's available. If there's anybody else, probably somebody worse than Alexander Mattison, to be honest with you. But Achane, I mean, stayed healthy all last year, was phenomenal with Tua. Honestly, he could be like the new age, like the late 2020s version of Christian McCaffrey with his workload and usage that he showed last year. And if that continues with all the receiving value in a full PPR league and the rushing game upside, he looked pretty efficient in the first preseason game too, especially a lot more efficient than Jalen Wright and Alexander Mattison, and now without Mattison for the year. I mean, this is Devon Achane's backfield, so you're betting on the youth and the upside that is probably very similar to Christian McCaffrey's upside as well at age 29, coming off of the injury in a depleted offense, but one that maybe the defense is key in a little bit more on Christian McCaffrey. Not that he's never not been keyed in on him by defenses, but I mean, with his age, with his injuries, you're watching that injury report every single week, and the first time that anything pops up on him, you're concerned for the remainder of the year, where that might not be an issue with Devon Achane. So I'm all in on Achane, and I love going with the Nico Achane stack to give you some flexibility later in rounds 3, 4, and 5 too. So you're not like honed in on one specific position later, and you can ride the wave of value as it comes to you. So at the 2.08, then I'm looking at the board here. Drake London went off and AJ Brown went off. I've been kind of hoping that one of those two would have came back to me to start with a, 2 power wide receiver start. Brock Bowers even went before, and then Josh Allen came off the board. I'm not looking at quarterback here to continue with that. Sleepers ADP does have Lamar Jackson up in here. I could look at Trey McBride for the tight end position. We're looking at Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor. Uh, Man, I was really kind of hoping that AJ Brown or Drake London would fall back to me, and I wasn't counting on having to pick another or running back here. But I might go with the running back. Or I might go with Trey McBride. That's essentially my decision. Bucky, we just got the news about Rachaad White's groin injury, him, potentially missing time. Josh Jacobs is great. Jonathan Taylor's pretty great. I believe so much in this value of the running back position a little bit later that I'm going to take Trey McBride here and give myself a positional advantage at the tight end position with the essentially a wide receiver at my tight end spot. And 130, 140 targets right there, I feel like is almost a guarantee. So yeah, basically this is what I was hoping for. Then at the 3.05, I get my dude Chase Brown coming back to me. I would imagine that by the time most people are drafting, still in early August, but by the time that most of your drafts are happening in late August or even around Labor Day weekend at the start of September, I could see Chase Brown not being a third round ADP. But for now, especially on Sleeper with this ADP, I am taking full advantage everywhere I can and grabbing Chase Brown in this early third round range, even in the late second. If I was one of the teams that was drafting, 1 or 2, and I got Jamar Chase or Bijan or CeeDee Lamb or somebody like that, and I could snag Chase Brown at the late second, I'm all aboard the value of Chase Brown right now as basically, I think, discount Devon Achane. I just got him a whole round later than what you got Achane, a whole round later than Christian McCaffrey. And I think Chase Brown has just as much top 5 upside as those other running backs. So I am ecstatic with the build that I have to start right now.
Here at the 311, I was kind of hoping that a wide receiver value that I liked were to fall, and it did. And Garrett Wilson is here on the board, still at the 311. But surprise, Kyren Williams is still on the board. And I think the contract extension for Kyren Williams pushed his value up a little bit for me. If you've been looking on like the multi-site ADP, he's kind of been following in this 3 to 4, turn range. So definitely within range, but he's been going up recently. And so I think right here, I'm going to do a little bit of a double hero RB build, but not have to take 2 running backs out of the jump. I'm going to grab Kyren Williams here at the 311. So we'll see. Nope, Garrett Wilson gets sniped there. I thought about it. I said maybe I draft Garrett Wilson, but then I think Kyren Williams would be an off the board. So I actually preferred Kyren there. So at the 4-2 though, and I've been hyping this guy up. There's no reason I should be hyping him up because it's each and every season we should be hyping him up. It's going to be Mike Evans. And I understand there's the hype of Emeka Ibuka being touted as Justin Jefferson-esque by Baker Mayfield and this whole Tampa Bay Buccaneers coaching staff as the next rookie, as the next Malik Neighbors. But Mike Evans, I know what I'm getting. 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. He'll fall somewhere in that wide receiver 10 to wide receiver 14 on a points per game basis. No, we always have to worry about his age. We have to worry about those hamstrings. But I feel very comfortable taking him in the early part of the 4th round.
I just want to say something about Kyren Williams. I want to shout out PFF analyst Nathan Janke. He always puts out like preseason updates and snap counts with the starters and everything after each day's worth of preseason games. So we got our first weekend's worth of that from the preseason over this past weekend. And during his charting of the LA Rams game, we saw Blake Corum play and he scored twice. We saw Jarquez Hunter play. Kyren did not play at all, which is pretty typical because the Rams never play their starters in preseason. But what was very interesting when I was reading his write-up is that he noted that the Rams will sit anybody that they feel is going to have some sort of a meaningful impact in season when everybody is healthy. So like last year, Ronnie Rivers and Blake Corum didn't play in the preseason. Neither did Kyren Williams. So that was something that we could have factored in. Maybe we were a little bit scared about Kyren Williams' value, especially after spending day 2 draft capital on Blake Corum. Corum didn't play at all, which could have indicated that he could have seen meaningful snaps and usage to take away from Kyren Williams. Obviously, that didn't happen. And he noted that the last time that one Rams running back didn't play an entire preseason, and that was the only running back on the depth chart that did not play in the entire preseason. Every other running back did, was 2018 with Todd Gurley, who was the RB3 in fantasy football on a total points basis, but was the RB1 in points per game with 26.5 PPR points per game. That was better than Saquon Barkley's rookie season. That was better than Christian McCaffrey's first big breakout season, better than Kamara, better than Zeke. He was the RB1 in points per game, just missed a couple of games. That's why he was the RB3 in total points. So the usage off the charts for Todd Gurley, could be off the charts again for Kyron Williams. And if you can get him in the third round as well, I absolutely love that. This video is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy season is in full swing, and we here at 4 for 4 are all over it. We've got drafts firing up, leagues are reuniting, and yes, some early group chat smack talk has already started. This year on 4 for 4, we are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too. Whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league, I've always been a fan of how intuitive the Yahoo platform is. From draft day to waiver claims, it just works the way you want it to. And to celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's just one team standing. With the season right around the corner, now is the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you are more into the classics, you can still play in head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing on Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/tmap. That's yahoofantasy.com/TMAP. So after all that talk and everything, at the 4.08, I have a decision to make again at the running back position. I am looking at the running backs. I do like the value of Devontae Adams here. I was a little bit concerned about the Matthew Stafford injury, but it looks like he's actually coming back to practice this week, which is a very good sign. I do like DK Metcalf. I do like DJ Moore. Don't need a tight end, so that's not a concern for me. So Amari Hampton, Kenneth Walker, Chuba Hubbard are three guys, two of which that I actually highlighted earlier this week in my legendary upside running back video. And then Amari Hampton is a really, really good rookie. He was my rookie RB2. I think was head and shoulders pretty much better than any other prospect other than Ashton Genty. Travion had some discussions and some conversations to be had for an RB2 spot, but I really liked Amari Hampton coming out. But I think I'm going to bypass the rookie upside because I am still a little bit worried about Najee Harris and everything, but I'm not worried at all about anybody that Chuba Hubbard has to deal with. And it's just Rico Dowdle, I think, is strictly a backup. Trevor Etienne is a backup there. And Chuba last year was producing as a guy more closely to a 1,500 yard, 15 touchdown type of person. Like that was what Jonathan Taylor essentially did, what Josh Jacobs essentially did. And they, Kyron Williams, and I just got him, Chuba, 2 to 3 rounds later than, all those 2 rounds later than all those other guys essentially. So I'll take the value there. And then at 5.5, this is where the draft starts to get a little bit dicey. I was kind of hoping that a DK Metcalf or a DJ Moore would slide back. They did not. The quarterback position could be something to look at, but I think now that the top 5 have gone off the board, and now Patrick Mahomes has also gone off the board, I'm not looking at the quarterback position just yet. It's a little bit too early for Baker or Bo Nix. I just took 2 running backs. The running back position is interesting here because Travion is still there. I only have 1 wide receiver. I don't necessarily love all of the wide receiver value here either. Tedero McMillan, I think, would be an interesting pick. Cortland Sutton could be a nice pick just for some stability. But I feel like I've already got some stability with Justin Jefferson and Trey McBride, and Chuba felt like a safe pick that I'm going to swing for the fences and go with an upside pick of Travion Henderson, which I think might make you a little bit upset, Caleb, especially as an Ohio State kid. But I passed on the upside of Amari and Hampton for the safety of Chuba Hubbard. And I think I got to lean into a little bit of upside here with Travion, especially after that preseason game. First touch in the NFL, 100-yard kickoff return. Dude's got juice. Dude's got immense juice. And the fact that you can still get him, I think, in the mid-5th is phenomenal.
This is my bold take when it comes to Travion Henderson, that when we get to actual draft time, we're going to have to be selecting Travion on that 3 to 4 turn. So I knew the sleeper ADP. I honestly, he was in consideration where I took Mike Evans. I was like, do I just absolutely hammer RB and go 3 solid RB? I didn't. I had this hoping suspicion that maybe he might fall back to me, but you hate the Ohio State wide receivers, but you love the Ohio State running back. So just shoot me in the heart, Addison. Just shoot me in the heart,
Yep. I'm sorry. So I just swing for the upside, like I said. And Travion has, he's done some terrible things in college, especially against my Penn State Nittany Lions, that I got to see what happens. And I'm in on this Patriots offense, so we'll see.
Okay. Well, now you had to make me pivot, but that's okay because this guy shouldn't be on the board. I'm going to go with Tedero McMillan is who I'm going to be
Hmm.
drafting here. And I think the piece of it is not only do we see a great first game, good connection with Bryce Young, but we know the prospect that he is. Top 10 pick coming into the NFL. A lot of great comparisons when we're looking in his marker system with you. I think talking the downside to Tet is that, well, you're not supposed to call him Tet. T Mac, is what I'm now have to get used to calling him,
According to his
is
mother, yes.
according to his mother, is just specifically. Uh, I guess maybe you can probably talk about his prospect profile a little bit better than I can, but he just wasn't on the same caliber as like a Malik Neighbors, a Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe even a Romo Dunze as a prospect. Now, he was a very fine wide receiver, like we said, kind of lining in that same line as with Drake London. So it'll be interesting to see where his career actually takes off. But the landing spot with Carolina was absolutely incredible. You add in the fact that you got Dave Canales, you have no other wide receivers really concerned about. Sure, there's a lot of Coker stands, there's a lot of people that like Xavier Leggett, but it's going to be the Tet show. So I'll take him here, especially kind of as my third wide receiver. Anything else that you want to add, Addison?
Nope, I mean, I said that he was in consideration for my pick at the 505. So if I wanted to go with him as my wide receiver too, so he is a really good prospect. I think adding in the fact that he has the talent and the opportunity, then you add that eighth overall draft capital. They invested heavily into him. That I think that he is in for a phenomenal, like Brian Thomas Jr. level rookie season this year.
At this next pick, Addison, we are going back to the rookie well. I might still have my rookie glasses on, but I'll be taking Travis Hunter here at the 6-2. Um, I just last year we have to take Malik Neighbors in the fourth. We had to take Marvin Harrison Jr. in the second. We know how that worked out. But if you were taking Brian Thomas Jr., if you were taking Ladd in the seventh, eighth, ninth rounds of your fantasy football drafts, you absolutely profited. So I'll be taking Tet and Travis Hunter. Hopefully, one of those two guys can end up being my wide receiver three.
Especially with that usage in the preseason game, man. He played all but one snap with the starters. That was and then didn't get in on defense until the second teams came out. So I think that that just indicates that he's already there as a wide receiver, and I think they're trying to work him into learning the defensive side, which might be why you've been seeing a lot of tweets or camp hype about the fact that Hunter's been playing more defense than offense. I think that's just because he's got the offense down. I think he's a better wide receiver than he is a defensive back. And I think Liam Cohen knows that too. And if he's going to be playing, 80 to 90% of snaps on at wide receiver, oh my gosh, dude, this guy is the absolute limit.
When he said 80% snaps, Liam, when that came out of Liam's mouth, all of a sudden you have to realize that's probably 90% of those snaps are going to be, he's going to get 90% of the receiving, work, or at least the receiving snaps that they're actually going to be passing the ball. And when you factor that in, it's like everything that we have been slowly in the dynasty space, like starting to hype up, and now it's really addressing in the redraft space. Goodness gracious, Travis Hunter, I think it's going to be a great value. And probably by redraft season, he'll probably be going in the mid fifth, is kind of where I assume. But even that's going to
Mhm.
be absolutely insane value.
I totally agree. So we are down here. I have kind of pigeonholed myself with the three running backs that I went with at the third, fourth, and fifth. Not to say that I'm regretting any of those picks. That was kind of my whole intention, was starting with Justin Jefferson over Jameer Gibbs, and then landing a Trey McBride in round two, who is essentially, I guess, my wide receiver two to a degree at the tight end position. But a lot of the value is still here, I think, at the running back spot. You got Tony Pollard. I really like Caleb Johnson as a rookie this year. And you got shots on if you like a DeAndre Swift. They're very interesting running back value down in this sixth and seventh range too. TJ Hawkinson is there, but I don't need him. The wide receivers get really, really dicey really quickly. What is it with Waddle? He's also kind of injured right now. Chris Olave doesn't have a quarterback. Jerry Judy could be interesting. Jordan Addison has a 3-game suspension. Chris Godwin's going to start on the pup. You got Roma Dunze. I like Jacoby Myers a lot, but it feels a little too early for him. It is a tough spot when you get down into here. When you fade all the wide receivers, in rounds 3, 4, and 5, and then you get down into here, things get a little bit dicier. That I think I'm going to pivot one more round because I do really believe in Caleb Johnson. And I think that I'm more comfortable doing this because we do have 2 flex starters. So I can start all 4 of these running backs every single week. If this was just like a super normal start, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, I might have tried to go for one of the wide receivers there. But I think just because we added an extra flex spot in this one, I felt comfortable going with Caleb Johnson here. And then a lot of the other running backs went. So now I'm back to look at the wide receiver position. And this is where I think I'm going to pull the trigger on a Rome Odunze, kind of swing for the upside there as the wide receiver 1B in the Chicago Bears offense. I know we haven't heard a lot of great things out of Bears training camp about Caleb Williams, but it seems like this is a tough offense to kind of digest. Jared Goff didn't do all that well in year one, or didn't do as phenomenally as he was, in 2022 or 2023 and 2024. But I think Rome Odunze could be a big contributor this year. We've seen a lot of good stuff from camp for him, and year two in that offense with the coaching change. I think that he is a really, really good bet this late in drafts, especially compared to where Marvin Harrison Jr. went, which was at the 309. So I got him 4 rounds later, but could be just as good of a bet, if not even better of a bet, to have that year two breakout from the rookie class last year.
I absolutely love that pick, Addison, because kind of right when we got to about that 7-7, 7-6 range is where I saw that tier break happen for me. And so sitting here at the 7-11 with my current team build, of course, I need a tight end. Of course, I need a quarterback. I think we've talked about it a lot this offseason, but the depth at quarterback this year is crazy. I think if you miss out on those top 4, top 5 QBs, like you kind of mentioned, it's better just to kind of wait. And I don't usually recommend this, but I'll probably just take a shot on 2 QBs late, in the same range of like the Dak Prescotts of the world, the Justin Fields, the Drake Mays. Like you could make a case for any of those guys. Because right now the pick would probably be Bo Nix, but I'm going to wait on that. Tight ends, I'm probably going to wait on too. So I'll probably just double up on another running back, or another wide receiver. Your boy Jacoby Myers is staring me down. Got Geno Smith, better quarterback this season. So I'll take him. He's going to be on my bench, but he does have that high end wide receiver too, upside, I think, this season.
I like the stability that he offers you too. Like if Tet and Travis Hunter take a little while, like you have the veteran stability weekly floor of Jacoby Myers to, fill in for them. And then once those rookies start getting going, especially later on over the second half of the season, that's where you can kind of make that swap. So I like the packaging that you did there with the safety of Jacoby Myers, but then the upside and, boom potential of the rookies.
Now, here at my next pick, Addison, the people are going to say this is going to be a reach, but it's the 8-2. And I think I'm all in on this Jaguars offense. And so I'm going to be taking Travis Etienne here at the 8-2. Not only did Travis Etienne take all of the first team snaps in the preseason game, but I just think he's the most talented back in the backfield. Yes, I love myself some Bishal Tootin. I'm not the biggest Tank Bigsby fan, but you can look at the metrics. He had really great metrics last season from an analytical perspective. I just think at that point, he's sliding in as my RB3 who has the potential to potentially be the bell cow in their offense. I think it's Travis Etienne.
I mean, he played all the snaps with the first team on that first drive, and then Tank Bigsby came in for the second drive. Janky did talk about that a little bit in the same kind of rundown whenever he was talking about the Rams situation. In that same rundown was the Jaguars game too. So he said that could be indicative of good things for Travis Etienne, but it also might just be something to where we've seen previous running back by committees kind of take the same approach where one running back gets a whole drive, then another running back gets a whole drive, and then on and on and on. We kind of saw that with the Detroit Lions last year. Like Monty would play like the entire first quarter, and then Jahmyr Gibbs would play a lot after that. But Travis Etienne, I do agree with you. I do think that he's the most talented running back in that backfield still. And only 2 years removed from a top 3 running back fantasy season, that even if he doesn't have all of the rushing workload, the PPR value, I think, will still be there for a Travis Etienne. So it does feel early, but man, when you look at some of the other running backs that are going after him or are still on the board right now, I don't dislike taking the shot on Travis Etienne there. Now here at the 808, obviously my team is looking like it needs some more wide receiver help. I'm in with you as well. Like I'm not really looking at the quarterback position, and I am more comfortable taking shots on 2 guys, maybe going for somebody as a week 1 starter who has a really good matchup, and then maybe somebody who can offer me some seasonal upside as well if things go the right way. So I'm probably looking at quarterbacks once we get into this double-digit range here. So not almost, but not yet. Don't need a tight end. I got Trey McBride. And the running back position is drying up really quickly. I got 3 really, really good guys already that I think I can take a shot on a couple later round guys too. So I'm going to fill out this wide receiver spot. Juwan Jennings is staring me in the face right here, as is Ricky Pearsall. I could take the shot on either one of the two San Francisco guys. Ibuka, Josh Downs, Matthew Golden has been getting rave reviews out of camp and from Jordan Love. Jaden Reed is already off the board. So I feel like I wish I could grab two of these guys. I'm honestly hoping I can grab two of these guys, but who do I start with?
I
That
think
is
you
the
got to go.
question.
I think you got to go Ibuka.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking I was going to go with Ricky Pearsall and then see if Ibuka comes back, because I think Pearsall has obviously he has the immediate starting role because Ayuk is going to start on the pup. Juwan Jennings is currently hurt / wanting a new contract, and it might just be Pearsall. Josh Downs could be good too. I think I'm going to take Pearsall and see what happens. So I
So
bet you some of
there's
these tight ends and
a
quarterbacks go.
hilarious story that just happened yesterday with Ricky Pearsall in a fantasy draft. So last night, Ron Stewart, Jacob Sanderson, they were drafting an FFPC $2,000 tournament, and the person tried to draft Ricky Pearsall, but he typed in Ricky Pearson and drafted Ricky Pearson in the 7th instead of Ricky Pearsall in a $2,000 draft. And the commissioner said that since he messed up, it was his own fault and they couldn't actually undo it. And so,
I you know
anyway,
I did see that. That is hilarious.
so let me just say, if you're trying to draft Ricky Pearsall and you type in his name, just make sure you don't draft Ricky Pearson. It could be the worst thing you do this fantasy season.
Oh man, that is rough. That is rough. But to at least cap out on my pick duo of picks there, I was able to get Emeka Ibuka at the 905. My bet worked that I could get him later. I was happy with any one of those five as long as one of them came back. So I had a decision between him and Juwan Jennings, but since I already went with Ricky Pearsall, I went with the upside of Emeka Ibuka as either the early starter while Chris Godwin is on the pup, or working his way back into playing. But then also a late season starter as a really high upside rookie, playing behind an aging Chris Godwin, an aging and has also dealt with injuries Mike Evans. So Ibuka has a lot of ways that he could be fantasy valuable this year, and the upside shot on him is technically my wide receiver 4. I think is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think the crazy part was just I think Emeka Buga, his value is going to go way up. I didn't necessarily need another wide receiver, but I almost would have taken Emeka Buka over Travis Etienne. Now looking back, but you know what? We digress. This is part of the mock fun as we're going here at the 9-11. Though I will grab Juwan Jennings just to continue to stack on this wide receiver core. I really was hoping that Colson Loveland and Tyler Warren was going to fall at the tight end position, because right now we're kind of staring down. Do I want to take a shot on a Tucker Kraft? I can continue to wait on quarterback. Running backs have kind of dried up. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to take a shot here on Tucker Kraft. We'll take
Mm-hmm.
George Kittle 2.0 is what I'm going to call Tucker Kraft. Yes, there's some good things that people are liking about Matthew Golden, but we have Jaden Reed walking in a walking boot. Even this offseason, we've had a ton of reports that they want to get Tucker Kraft more involved. So I'll take Tucker Kraft here. I think it's pretty good value here late in the 10th round.
I mean, the ADP for the sleeper platform already, that Tucker Kraft is going after Dalton Kincaid, after Jonnu Smith, and even after both rookies. You don't see that. So this is something where, if you are drafting on the sleeper platform this year, or, whatever other platform that you're drafting on, study that ADP, study that player list beforehand and see where the values lie, because you might have the opportunity to sneak away, a player like a Tucker Kraft later in drafts, or later than regular ADP, that other platforms you can't get that same discount. So study up on where you're drafting, and if you're playing in a home league and all your league mates, it's nice to know their tendencies as well, that you can get those discounts or those player values too. I think this is a perfect example with you drafting Tucker Kraft here, that you got a steal. I love me some Tucker Kraft, and steal at the 10-2 behind a couple of those other tight ends that don't have that same upside. I would be interested in doubling down on a tight end if I thought that there was maybe some upside or some tradability aspect of it. A rookie tight end could have done it for me if it was Tyler Warren or Colson Loveland here at this 10:08 spot. I know I have Trey McBride, but if one of those two rookies pop off, I have a really good trade piece with one of them. Or if they're popping off well enough, I could trade away Trey McBride, and then I could keep one of those guys as my starting tight end. So, but I think that only works if you're really getting a value on them, which I was not in the ninth, in my opinion, and they did not fall back to me here in the 10th. I still could be looking at the quarterback position. I like me some Dak Prescott, even though his early season schedule is kind of rough. I love me some Jordan Love. I love me some Justin Fields. I love me some Drake May. I love, a couple of these other quarterbacks in this range. I think that might be the situation where I end up going. The running backs have some interesting names, but a lot of these guys got hurt. Tyjae Spears got hurt. Rashad White got hurt. Nick Chubb doesn't have good reports at training camp. Garendo has been hurt. I don't want Steven Sinks. I already have Travion. I don't want that whole entire backfield. Bigsby could be interesting. Let's see. So this team 4 already has 2 quarterbacks. They took Goff. They took Kyler. They took Lamar. So I actually don't need to take a quarterback here if I don't want to. So I think here I'm going to take Tank Bigsby as the shot on the RB2 for the Jaguars. And for some reason, he took Dak Prescott. I have no idea why. And he took Stroud, which I'm fine with. I wasn't in on Stroud anyway. But I'm going to take a quarterback before you. So I get my decision on who that quarterback is. And it's between Drake May or Jordan Love for me. Drake May has a really good week 1 matchup against the Raiders, a defense got absolutely smacked by the Seahawks backups in preseason. Jordan Love, I think, has good long-term upside, season-long upside too. I think I'm going to go Drake May. For the rushing upside, he looked really good in the first preseason game. Has a good matchup against the Raiders in week 1. We'll run with it. We'll see what comes back to me at the quarterback position if I'm able to take 2 of these guys or not.
That was just painful seeing Justin Fields go off the board. That was who I was hoping was going to fall to me, but not good for actual football purposes, but great for fantasy. We saw him rush for a 30-yard touchdown in that preseason game. So, man, here on the board, I have to go QB. I guess I'm just biting the bullet and praying that I'm getting amazing production from JJ McCarthy.
Oh, yeah, I think that was the pick. I'm looking at the other. That dried up super quickly.
Quick. But you know what? We're taking 2 shots here. I'll go Trevor Lawrence. I know he threw a hospital ball to Brian Thomas in their preseason game, and he didn't look like the best of the best. But hey, I have Travis Hunter, so at least I get the stack there. Hopefully, one of those guys can just be putting up top 12 production for me, especially if I waited to the kind of last 2 rounds of our mock draft.
I am looking at the quarterback position here again. I was just seeing if I maybe have interest to take another one of these guys, but I don't think I do. All these guys kind of feel like good waiver wire options. Technically, if this was a real league, there's a handful of teams in here that have 2 quarterbacks. So you would imagine that if they were going to pick up one of these guys, they'd drop one of their other quarterbacks. So there should be a solid flow of waiver wire quarterbacks that I could pick up if they're starting to show out, or I need a starter instead of Drake May if he has a bad matchup. So I think I'm going to go away from the quarterback position and let's just see what we have at the flex spot here for some upside. I love Kyle Williams, and that could be a nice stack to pair with Drake May. Isaac Garendo could be interesting just for the handcuff. Austin Eckler is a nice kind of stable producer. Trey Benson, that's pretty much who I'm looking at right here. I would be interested in Braylon Allen, but I think that would be more of like a 13th or 14th round pick if we were to keep going that far. I think I'm going to go with the upside of Kyle Williams. I'm really, really in. Obviously, I love Kyle Williams as a prospect, but I'm in on the potential that I have there. And if I end up not hearing good things from the remainder of training camp, or if he's not going to be a week 1 starter, I can cut him for somebody else, which I think is just basically the same thing as Trey Harris or Luther Burden, and as rookies in this rookie class too. So, but I'll take my guy with Kyle Williams, who's also pairing with Drake May, and that is how we're going to end it. So, Caleb, can you run down what this final roster looks like for you out of the 11 spot?
Yeah. So drafted, I guess JJ McCarthy slides in as my QB1. I'll be completely honest. I thought I was having an absolute A- rating draft until the quarterbacks dried up on me. And I kind of was at the end of that huge run that happened. But then I got Devon, Kyron Williams as my 2 starting running backs, got Nico Collins, Mike Evans as my 2 starting wide receivers, Tucker Kraft at tight end, then Tedero and McMillan and Travis Hunter in my flex, with Jacoby Myers, Travis Etienne, Jawan Jennings, and then Trevor Lawrence on our bench. Of course, we didn't draft kicker, we didn't draft defense, but me and Addison will probably both agree and tell you if whatever, how many you need to draft, usually one each, just wait until the last 2 rounds of your draft. So no need to really talk through any of that strategy.
Yep. And so my team then out of the 5 spot, quarterback is Drake May. I've got Trey McBride to hold down the onesie position at the tight end as well. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson holds down my hero wide receiver 1 spot, and then I have a plethora of high upside potential wide receiver 2s in Roma Dunze, Ricky Pearsall, Emeka Ibuka, and Kyle Williams. And then at the running back position, I have a stable of Chase Brown, Chuba Hubbard, Travion Henderson, Caleb Johnson, and Tank Bigsby. So that is how our teams fared through 12 rounds of a regular, PPR mock draft on the Sleeper platform from the 5 and 11 spots. And you can see kind of how the rest of the board fell out too, even though it was all CPUs drafting. You can kind of see some general ADP for some of these players using the Sleeper ADP and player list and how those teams drafted and their lineups eventually shook out. As Caleb mentioned, if we were to keep going, we'd maybe get another opportunity to draft another late round, either a handcuff running back or like an upside wide receiver, draft kicker in the defense as your final 2 spots, because none of that really ultimately matters. And that is how you can build out your 2025 fantasy football team. We appreciate you guys for tuning in with us, sticking with us for this entire mock draft episode. As Caleb also mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you are interested in signing up for a subscription over at 4for4.com to gain access to John Paulson's industry award-winning rankings and projections for your draft or every single week in season, you can sign up for any 4for4 subscription and get 25% off with the code YouTube. That also works for the betting and DFS tiers as well. So if you are interested in getting some help and winning some money on the DFS or betting side, that same code YouTube will get you 25% off of those plans as well. So we appreciate you guys for checking us out. Like and subscribe to this brand new channel as we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers on this new channel. We appreciate all of the support that you guys have shown us over the past couple of weeks. And until the next video, we will catch you guys later. Peace.